It's your daily dose of Danny, Thursday's edition. So today, well, I remembered what I forgot about yesterday. I was going to talk about the car insurance industry and how some insurers, State Farm, are sending, refunds back to people because nobody's driving and, you're paying for something you're not doing. I don't know if they're all doing that, but I did see that State Farm was doing that, and that's cool. For the people that are driving, we know you're fucking speeding, okay? There's no cars on the road. God, I have like a hair in my eyeball. I'm gonna get it though. There's no cars on the road. You're driving 100. I know this because the few times that I went out to go drop my kids places or anything like that, I was speeding like a crazy person. And I mean, I have a car that's built for speed. It's meant to be driven quickly, fastly, rapidly, above the speed limit. And next thing you know, you're going 85 and traffic's zooming by you, so you got to catch up. At least I did. Anyways, so yeah, that's a cool thing. State Farm, and maybe there's others, are giving some refunds back to, safe driver refunds back to people who aren't driving. And that makes sense. We need all the help we can get. Then I found out that the Sonoma County law that you have to wear a mask in public doesn't go into effect till tomorrow. So all those people that I was talking shit about silently, out loud, scornfully, they weren't even breaking the rules. But tomorrow I'm going to hit the trail again and we'll just see how many of them follow the rules. Because tomorrow I can really legally say to them, what the everlasting fuck are you doing out here without your mask? I'm not taking any extra masks though. That was my sister's suggestion, just throw them at people. No, why would I do that? The rule's the rule. Get a bandana, get a piece of cloth, cover your crusty nose and mouth and your sweatness. Okay, so here's some cool stuff. This is going to be like a intricate description of why I am immune to COVID-19. You ready? So from the beginning, not the beginning, but from probably the last month and a half, there's been all this talk about an antibody test and how we can develop herd immunity. Herd, like a herd of people, like a herd of cows, but a herd of people. And I've been just mesmerized by this because I was sick. There was a lot of sickness, and I was in the ICU. I mean, like when all this was being kicked off, end of February, where was I? ICU. What did I have? Septic pneumonia. So anyways, there's a lot of evidence coming out, and here's my deal. So get on board with this. One of the things of COVID-19, one of the symptoms, one of the unexplained things that happens are strokes, unexplained strokes in generally healthy people. Now, I've never, ever considered myself to be healthy. I mean, I would never describe myself as, I'm a healthy 50, how the fuck old am I? 62, 20, 57-year-old. I'm going to be 58 in October, so I'm old as fuck nuts. But I've never described myself as, I'm a healthy 57-year-old female. Oh my God, Thomas is at the door. He's meowing at me. Sorry, Tom. But let's say I'm generally healthy in that, I can take care of myself and walk around and put on makeup and cute outfits. So a healthy 57-year-old woman just suddenly drops down of a stroke. And a moderate stroke, no baby stroke. This was a, pretty good size of an eyeball, which I guess is big in your brain because your brain's not that big. So here I am, had the stroke. There's no explanation for it. It's like, what the fuck? How'd that happen? Where'd that come from? In the hospital, in the ICU, septic pneumonia, suspected kidney infection, although they can never prove it because apparently urine samples taken in the ER are unreliable at best. So, but definitely septic pneumonia, stroke, anemia, low blood pressure, weird, like perfect storm. So I'm in the ICU and I have visitors, okay? I have a list of visitors, people visiting me. You ready? It's a lot. Sister, husband, daughter, Dorina's boyfriend, Dorina's son, my best friend Kelly, her husband, my friend Peggy, my friend Pam, my brother-in-law Anthony, my nephew PJ, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law. Who's counting? Is anyone counting? Okay, it's a big group of people. Now let's pretend like I had COVID-19, undiagnosed, but had it. And all these people were around me, so quote unquote exposed to it. Because it's not like they just came in the room and stood away from me. They were bedside, talking, touching, helping, hugging, whole thing. The way you behave in the hospital when the patient is me. So all these people are there. I'm forgetting someone, and I don't want to hurt that person's feelings. Who else came to visit me? Anywho, I'm there. Now for me, once it was like, you had a stroke, okay, there's nothing we can do. You're just going to get better and get stronger. And they gave me the blood transfusions and everything. The focus was on my lungs, because what the hell, every x-ray they took, there was fluid around my lungs. They talked about getting the fluid out, doing a needle aspirate and getting the fluid out. I wish I would have agreed to that. They could have tested it and said, fuck COVID-19. But they didn't. So anyways, then I had all these other visitors when they moved me out of the ICU, because they needed the beds. And they were saying that there were patients in there who were really sick on ventilators. I mean, I was on oxygen. I had breathing treatments sometimes twice a day. There was one night where I literally wheezed and coughed for 5 hours all night long. Now, if I was feeble and not so robustly healthy, imagine, I probably would have been put on a ventilator. I mean, I could not fucking breathe. I was taking like my pulse ox was negligible. They couldn't even measure it. So do you know what I'm saying? Like, there was a lot going on lung-wise that they weren't paying attention to, because it was like she had a stroke. When I went down to the telemetry floor, I had visits from Leah's friends, Paige and Claire's mom, Renee and Jill, all the other people that I mentioned, plus down at my daughter Grace's home visiting me. I mean, one night, because my daughter was in the soccer playoffs, my mother-in-law came with her iPad. We live streamed the game. She sat right at my bedside. We watched it the next day, sick in the bed. She had like some sort of respiratory illness. Now, let's assume for this conversation that all these people were exposed to me. Now, they were exposed to me, but that I had COVID-19 undiagnosed. So now that's my herd. These are my people. And we all have a herd immunity. Then who did they come in contact with? I see this grows exponentially. So if I go get the antibody test, like call my doctor and say, can I get the antibody test, which you know damn well I'm going to do, even though it's a blood draw, my blood sucks and it's a whole thing. I'm going to do it. And I get the antibody test and it says, yeah, you have the antibody. Do you know how big my fucking herd is? I got a herd, man. And then Boyd, who's working, like do you know what I mean? This herd is spreading. Who you immunize because you have herd immunity. So this is good, and this is how we test, and this is what we need. So in addition to wide-scale testing for people that potentially have the virus, there's the antibody testing for people that maybe were exposed to someone who had the virus, and you maybe had or didn't have symptoms, or they were mild or they were not mild. Nick, my friend Pam's husband Nick, he came to visit me, hugged me. These people, they didn't just visit. I'm telling you, they touched me, they helped me. I mean, some of my breathing exploits that happened where I was like on the breathing treatment with the mask and using the inhaler, the respiratory therapists were beside themselves. I was like literally paging them every 20 minutes. I couldn't fucking breathe. I think I had it. And I survived it. And I didn't go on a respirator because I'm a 57-year-old, relatively healthy woman. Okay, this is so cool. And I don't know where I'm going to go besides my doctor. And then who's he going to share the info with? Who do I need to call? Should I go to the Department of Health? I don't know what to do. Okay, anyways, but I'm doing something because I think I'm patient zero for my herd. Okay, that's cool news. Then I read in the newspaper today about graduation that, this is what City of Santa Rosa decided to do. If Dog Rabbit, we get to go back into life sometime in May, they might have 1 week. That's like senior week, and the seniors can come back and they can do their prom and maybe have graduation, whatever. But really what they're planning is that there is going to be a graduation of a sort, but it's probably going to be in late summer, early fall, and or the Christmas break. Tragic, so tragic, sadness. But I think again, and I've talked about this before, because my daughter's high school is so small and the class is small. You know, we're not talking about 400 students, we're talking about like 100 and some, a small portion, small group. That there's enough room on a football field. What's a football field? 100 yards? It's 100 yards, right? How many 6 feet squares can you make on a 100-yard field? I think a lot. Maybe you can't have an audience, but you can definitely have the parents. You can have the immediate family that's been, you know, quarantined together, the shelter-in-placers. Those people can come, and you have the graduation, and it's live streamed so the other people can watch. I don't know. I don't know if it could happen May 30th, but I'm telling you this. I got a box full of announcements. I picked up senior pictures yesterday, and we're going to start an assembly line, put that shit together, and mail them out. It's got to happen. I'm just going to pretend like May 30th is the day, because like she said, I'm still graduating high school, Mom, even if there's not a ceremony. I'm a high school graduate, and that needs to be celebrated. So that's my plan. That's my current plan. I'm just going to do physical therapy today, no swimming. I'm going to do my on-the-ground physical therapy because I have a cute outfit on, hair and makeup. Wearing white jeans. I mean, who do I think I am? I don't know. I'm at home. And then tomorrow, Tit and I will hit the Brush Creek Trail, and I'll do my therapy. I ended up walking 7.2 miles yesterday. That's the walk that I did out in the world, plus walking around my house. It's hard to get from one end of the manse to the other. Okay, then I was going to just briefly talk about Vanderpump Rules. I don't know if you guys watch that show, and there are all these 20-somethings that I think maybe are 30-somethings. There's at least one 40-something. Anyways, they all work at the restaurants, the Vanderpump Empire, Sir, Pump, Tom Tom, whatever. But these characters, and I'm, all bought in on all the characters in their lives, because that's what I do. They're just so confounding to me. And the way that they treat each other, again, they're like the housewives, a younger version of the housewives. But I'm in for fashion and for the drinks and the restaurants and places they go. And I think there's probably some influencer somewhere who's just, regurgitating all that shit for the 20-somethings, and they're making their list when they go to West Hollywood or Beverly Hills. These are the places they're going to stop by. But just as a robust, almost, 58-year-old woman, there's a part of me that is still really intrigued by all that, and I want to be I want to be on the cutting edge of that. So I'm making my own list of restaurants and shit. And then the last thing, I think it's the last thing, but the class of 2020, so everyone's posting, their senior picture, which I posted mine. And there's all these quizzes tell us something about your high school years, which is so funny. I had a great life in Ohio. Amazing. I had a great group of friends. I had a boyfriend. My parents were fucked up. And, it was like a house of horrors. But, the sexual abuse really hadn't taken off yet, even though I was a sophomore in high school. There was some weird shit, but, I'm not sure that I was the victim yet. There was stuff, but you know what I mean. And the physical abuse had pretty much abated because, Judy was, I don't think, strong enough to beat our ass anymore. There was emotional abuse, and there was a lot of just weird shit that went on there. But, I loved my life, and I was happy. But they uprooted us because the fucking drunks got an idea that Arizona was the place we ought to be. So they loaded up the truck, and we moved to fucking Tucson. And then I had to go to a different high school. So junior and senior year were at a different high school. Even though my heart was always in Ohio, I actually graduated from high school in Arizona. And now my daughter is going to go to the University of Arizona for college. And she said to me, what are you excited about seeing? What's going to be good for you? Well, it's so hard because the Arizona years were not, the Arizona high school years were fucking horrible. Once I went away to college and I never had to talk to those motherfuckers again, it was fine. But, the abuse and just all of it, it was horrible. And I'm going to have to do some therapy to go there. Kidding. I'll be fine. But anyways, so people are talking about high school, and, there's a lot of stuff that you remember or try to forget. But it's a good exercise. And in this time when we're locked down, sheltering in place, we know your yard looks good. We know your linen closet is organized. We know your house is pristinely clean. And, all your laundry's done and your clothes are alphabetized, sorted by color in your closet, and your books are all straight and everything looks good. There's nothing else to do. So fucking think about high school and what it was like. It's so different for these kids these days. It just is. Things that we cared about, stressed about, worried about, they're like, what? Because they don't worry and stress about the things that we did. At least not the things that I did. I worried about getting in trouble. I worried about getting caught doing the shit that I was doing and getting in trouble. And I went to some lengths to keep some secrets. Maybe they're doing that, and I'm just in the dark about it. Oh boy, that'd be weird. Anyways, if you see the little quizzes on Facebook, fill them out because it's fun for all of us to read. And post your senior picture if you have it. I'm still trying to find Boyd's. So if someone who has a yearbook where Boyd was in it, if you could send it to me, because apparently we maybe had it and it was lost in the fire, and then his mom can't find her wallet copy and his dad can't find his copy. And I want to post Boyd's senior picture because I only have mine. And let me just tell you a little story about the day I got my senior picture taken. So I came home from school. I was a senior. Weird, not really. I mean, I think it was the end of my junior year. I think that's when you get your senior picture taken. I can't remember what year it was, but I know that I was coming home from swim practice. My hair was in a perm because that was the jam back then. And I came home, fluffed up my hair, put on some makeup, put on my dress. It was like a black, kind of a crossover dress with like little white design on it. I bought it in Greece when I was an exchange student. My black espadrilles that I also bought in Greece when I was an exchange student. So I was greased up. And of course I didn't drive or have a license. That's a whole story. I failed my test 5 times in 3 states. True story. And here I'm driving around. It's not safe. But I needed a ride. It happened to be on a Wednesday, which was my asshole stepfather's day off. Well, his day off was usually a day of drinking. So he was drunk as a skunk, but I needed a ride, so what the fuck? And he knew it was my appointment, so he drove me there. So in total fucking terror on my way to get my senior portrait. Luckily, it was only like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or short blocks away. But Arizona blocks, those are long-ass fucking hot blocks. So he drove me there, and he said, do you want me to wait? And I was like, no, it's okay. Please leave. You're disgusting, and I hate your guts. He left. I got my portraits done, and I said to the photographer, am I your last appointment for the day? This is the kind of shit I would do. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, think you'd give me a ride home? But I'm not crazy. Like, I don't want some weird photographer I never met in my entire life going to my house. So I had him drive me to the bus stop that was closest to my house. Well, the bus stop was on East 22nd Street. We lived on East 26th Street in the barrio. Straight up fucking barrio. Had him drop me off. I was like, it's cool. I live right here. Lie. But at least the drunkard wasn't driving me home. And I walked in that dress and my espadrilles, whatever the 4 blocks were, from 22nd Street to 26th Street, and showed up at home. Senior picture's done. And I was a sweaty mess, but who cares? Pictures were over. Anyways, that's my senior picture story. It's sad. It's tragic. My daughter went to get her senior pictures done, and it was like a whole thing. And I went with her and cried and took my own pictures and enjoyed every second of it. Those are the things we do when you come from a house of horrors, a hellhole, fucked up parents, drunks, whatever your household situation was, and you have kids of your own. You make sure you do everything so that they don't have any of those experiences. I'm telling you, being Mother of the Year is not fucking easy, but I'm holding that banner high, and I'm trying to get reelected every year. Okay, I gotta go help Grace. She's got to give a speech tomorrow. This is so fucked up. So you're in college, you have a speech class. She has to record her speech on a YouTube channel, and then they'll watch it. So she has to, practice it 50 million times and dress up in her blazer and shit, because you can't just show up. You gotta show up. You gotta glow up, or whatever the kids say these days. Anyways, so I'm gonna help her with that, and then tomorrow she'll speech it out. It's a persuasive speech, and her persuasive topic is mental health care for all. That's a button pusher. She has so much great research. It's going to be a good speech, mostly because I'm going to help her with it. I'm going to help her, with it. Help her with it. And yeah, it's going to be a good one. Gosh, I look so good. This lighting's really good for me. I did my physical therapy out here on the front porch yesterday, and I don't know if he noticed, but I kept looking at myself. I looked cute. Like, this lighting was good for me. It was like, wow, you look good, Danny. But anyways, that's it. I love you all. I went 20 minutes. That's got to be long. Too long. It's too long. All right. Have a good day, everyone. The sun's out. The birds are chirping. It's spring. Spring has sprung in California. As my grandma Cara Jane used to say, the land of fruits and nuts. Okay, I don't know. Is that racist or something? I don't know. Anyways, I love her. Love you. Bye.